welcome back, everyone. It is officially that time for us. We are finally getting this thing out for the season. You know, it needs a couple things. We got to, we're gonna put some new injectors in it. We're gonna go up to some 210-pound injectors. We got some 1000 cc's. They're just, yeah, they're not enough. We're running out of fuel. We got that. We had the intermittent crank issue. We kind of gave you a little introduction last time to her. So what we're gonna do is we are going to get her started, get her pulled into the shop, and then hopefully so you can make a pull or two. But again, we have to do the injectors, figure out the crank signal, do a little maintenance, go through and check our diffs, transfer case. That thing leaks like a sieve. You always got to fill that up every time. And hopefully all we got to do is throw a crank sensor in this thing. But you never know. We're going to pull the inspection shield off. We got a little cover on the bottom here. You know, that little guy right there got a little note on there, so when the front end's pulling up on her. So we're gonna get that down. After we get that down, then hopefully we'll get the, you know, make sure the crank ain't walking. If it's not walking, hopefully the sensor will take care of it. Because here in a couple days, we'll be taking this thing out. So let's get her going, let's get her pulled around. Hopefully she starts up, guys. It should have started last time, but you know, like we were saying with the intermittent issue, but let's see what happens. So first order of business, we got the old pick 'em up truck in the garage. It kind of fits. It's close, but it's expected. You know, it's hoist and it's got, you know, we got 2.5 ton axles with the hubs flipped and the wheels, yeah, they're 14 wide. So it fits though. That's what's important. We've had it on the hoist, proven, works. So, but first order of business we were talking about, we have this dirty ass intake here. This is going to be our new donor for the nice premium Huron speed fuel rails. Look at those sons of bitches. Them are pretty. And then we got the old right there we go. The old 210 210 pound per hour injectors. The old Holly flow matched. By all means, not sponsored, but be nice. So we're gonna freshen this bad boy up, get her squared away, and so we're gonna get this bad boy all put together and transfer over our throttle body. We got our 3-bar map on the truck, and get her freshened up. The reason being is the one that we had on there, we bought the wrong fuel res last time and we tried modifying the intake ourselves, and it works. But we'll show you what we did to get us by. So this year, you know, a good buddy of mine, those premium Huron speed fuel rails. Thanks, Rusty. He sponsored those because he didn't want his buddy to burn alive. Duly noted. So, If you notice there, we got my boy. He decided to get a red pick-em-up truck like his dad, so we scored him a high country at a good price. So, but yeah, let's get to her. Got her all cleaned up. Still looks kind of dingy, but it's gonna get covered in mud. So we got the old fuel rails like we talked about. We were fitting our injectors, sorting out which brackets, because here on Speed gives you brackets to fit everything. So, which is awesome. Thanks, guys. So, got our Holley injectors. Gonna get them transplanted, get all these brackets bolted on, get them slammed on the intake. Then we get to pull the doghouse off. So once we're in there, then we'll pull what we have off, transfer the fittings for the fuel lines. Our we had a 92 on this thing, millimeter throttle body that is, I think. We'll have to check. It was either 102 or 92, but pull our charge pipe tubing off, show you that good stuff there. So let's get to her. Let's get this thing together. Well, there she be, guys. Lipstick on a pig, but it's here to make power. It's all covered up. You don't see any of it anyways, so. But we will, before we bolt around, we'll make sure we blow everything out. But it was all clean when we got into it. But it's always nice to double check that stuff. Purge the lines. Make sure the system's clean, especially after the fuel filter, because the next filter is your injector. You don't want to use that. So we're gonna get this thing dressed out once we get the other one off the truck. So we're gonna get on to that, getting the doghouse pulled off, and get her pulled off, get her back to it. Give you a little sneak peek under the hood. We finally got her popped open, see what we got going on. And you'll see what I mean about mid-engine here. So, you can put a pretty good sized cooler right there, you know, loaded full of beers. Might get kind of warm, but it is a LS, we told you that. There's our janky hold downs, that nice clamp. It is air to water for the intercooler. We have a circulation pump and a little air to water, a little radiator dealio in the back. 7875, single turbo setup, pretty basic, eBay special, you know. Got the old catch can right there. Again, eBay's finest. But the rest of the stuff's pretty good stuff. You know, we like to keep our fuel system pretty straight. We are running a Holley, aeromotive regulator, all that good stuff. So basically, we're going to go ahead and start dismantling the front portion here. Pull the doghouse in there like we discussed. Kind of wanted to show you a little sneak peek before we get into her. Let's get her tore down. All right, so the Holley, we got a waterproof, well, water resistant little housing there. The guy online, oh, I'd have to give you the information there, but it's a does 3D printing and does a super killer job on these things. He kind of started doing them for like airboats and stuff, from what I understand, but the few of us that run them in our mud trucks and whatnot, decent way to keep these things in good shape. Got to kind of fiddle fuck around. There we go. Here we go. So get that out of the way. We got 4 bolts. Like I said, our buddy Rusty is real good with this fabrication crap. do that, get our bolts out of the way. Kind of just take this guy and lay him between the seats. Shift cable is what gets you. It's pretty damn short. The old Winter's gated shifter. You know, been a damn good shifter. It makes it pretty hard to screw things up. That's what's nice. We did not put a trans brake on this. Kind of regret it. You know, when we were building the trans, I wasn't thinking it'd be that big of a deal till after you rode a truck that had one. So we might switch over to a turbo action cheetah shifter. That's got the little button on the side, and maybe upgrade the trans down the road here. But right now we're gonna use what we got, and you know, if something fails, we'll look at upgrading. But just gotta get this darn thing out of our way. There we go. Kind of tucks behind the seat. I think we put a couple straps. So we did duct tape it. Oh, that's right. We're gonna pull our air filter here. So that is our air intake. So that was probably one of the slicker ideas. We got the old air cleaner inside the truck. You could damn near take this thing underwater until, you know, at least till there, right? Exhaust up the fender, air intake there. Submarine, right? Well, let's get that air cleaner out of the way and start pulling this dude out. There you go, Dad. Let's get that out of here. Yep. So we just pretty much got to get the rest of this damn duct tape off here and expose its heartbeat anyways. You know, this engine's really bad for, if it gets water on it, what you'll run into is a lot of steam. You know, when the water hits the exhaust or the engine, it fills the whole cabin up with steam, fogs the windows up. A lot of the guys in the sport, you know, they'll run them with no windshields and stuff. I don't like to get dirty. You know, it's kind of weird. Mud bogger, I don't like to get dirty, you know, whatever. But the duct tape helps keep the steam outside of here. It gets warm. You know, it's like a damn heater built right in here. But at least with that, you don't get as much of the window fogging. So, too bad we ain't got defrost, right? It's an idea. All right, ready for that? Yep. Tried to scratch the piss out of the roll cage. As you drag it down the roll cage. You know, guys, I want to put in perspective for you on how close and how hot this thing really gets. So there isn't much foot room in here. When you drive this thing, your foot is literally resting on the exhaust manifold. We got a minty fresh Corvette LS manifold that we utilized, and then a super Chinese turbo manifold on the other side. So let's take a gander. When your foot is here, yeah, you're like, you know, half a toe away. So she gets pretty close. I mean, 2/3 of the motor's in the truck. But it helps the jumping, though. That's the biggest thing. It's about aesthetics when you're in the air. Now, who cares about what the driver, you know, the driver comforts are? So, creature comforts, yeah, you know. So, that's kind of what we got going on. You can kind of see the old hack job there at the last minute last year. Ordered the wrong rails. But now, thanks to Rusty, we got the right ones. A new intake that's unmodified because this one we cut a little bit, but we're going to donate that to the cause. So that'll end up on somebody else's project, and they can deal with it. So we're going to go ahead and get this intake manifold pulled off, get her swapped out, and then worry about the crank issue. Because you know what? That's not as important as burning the truck down. So let's get to her. Guys, we're under the hood now. We got to go ahead and get our charge pipe disconnected, this bad boy here, and disconnect the rest of our goodies to our throttle body. We got our idle air control and intake air temp and a couple other items there. Fuel lines up to the regulator, get that pulled off, and then it is time to get the intake out of the way. We are right there. We're real close. And then at that point, get the new one set on, wrap this top end up. So let's get to it. Hey guys, we got the intake off finally. It seems like it took about 9 hours, but pretty tight quarters here. You know, we got this firewall that's, you know, splits the engine in half. So we are going to go ahead and clean the surfaces, make sure he's good, and get that other one slapped on. Get that wrapped up. So that is what we're gonna do. Choose a little brake clean here, and just hose her down. You know, it don't really matter. We just want to make sure these surface areas are clean. They're not bad. I mean, this motor was just put in not that long ago, probably 6 months ago. So it's nice to get them a little scrub down. And we'll set that other intake on. Well, we got her all on. She was a little tight, you know, but what do you expect? What do you expect? The firewall here, there's not a ton of clearance. We did a little shibe in here, though. We got this, the old safety wire, so this thing can't unturn. And we also, it's kind of hard to see, but we do it with the map sensor as well. You don't want to blow it out with boost. These have a little plastic retainer, but you just drill a little hole in one of the sides, one of these little fins here, some safety wire, minty fresh. So we're bringing you along for the fuel lines to make sure we ain't got no leaks. So we're gonna go ahead and just turn the old pump on here. Let's see if here kind of running and filling everything up, and
that sure is a loud fuel pump.
So yeah, that's a Aeromotive Eliminator series. That thing is, you know, when your fuel pump is louder than the neighbor's exhaust, it tells you something. But I think we're all dry, actually. Everything looks pretty darn snazzy. You know, just remember, folks, torque spec, cross-threaded, tight is tight. You know? So let's, we're going to go ahead and program the injectors, because remember, we went from the Snake Eater 1000s to the old Holley 220-pound injectors there. So hopefully we'll start making some steam. That'll, you know, at least we won't have something holding us back. Here's a fun fact for you, though. That's where my transmission dipstick is. Pain in the ass, right? Yeah, it's a great choice on my part. Let's get this Holley programmed, and hopefully we can touch her off in just a second for you. All right, guys, we got the software tuned. Kind of changed it over in the Holley, just the injector flow rate and the old pound per hour there. So we're gonna see if she touches off. Hopefully it touches off. Oh, I was gonna say that was a wind, but it shut off. Let's we'll try it again here. we're gonna get the doghouse back on, get the air filter hooked back up, and get the oil changed, and we should be good to get that crank sensor done. Once it's done, oil change, we'll go through and spray all the heim joints. We like to do that little PB blaster or some deep creep, and get this thing ready. We'll be taking her out here shortly. All right, we got a trusty 13 in the old snap-on. We set it up with some nutserts. Actually, we're like J-clips, little body clips. We're gonna go ahead and rip those off, get our inspection cover off. The biggest thing is we gotta wash these things all the time, so anything to make it simpler and easier to get to, just, it's the way to go. So yeah, I mean, but pretty slick. Yeah, I've been apart in a year, so hopefully we don't break them off, but they're replaceable. So we got 6 of those. But yeah, it just pulls out of here in one piece. Just a piece of sheet aluminum we bent through. So, what we gotta do though, is we're gonna get up in here and we're going to drop the starter to get to the crank sensor. And hopefully that's our problem. We did check for crank end play. We don't have any, so that's a big thing. And then I see we might have a small oil leak at our turbo line, our drain line. We're gonna assess that and get this oil changed. So let's get to her. All right, we're gonna get this oil drained. You see we got a nice little cardboard sleeve here just because we don't wanna make a mess. The old 5-gallon bucket. Now we do put a little extra in these, at least I do. I like to run this thing at 7 quarts. Simply because we're always in the high RPMs. We do jump this thing, so I don't wanna suck a pan dry. That wouldn't be good. But let's see how this oil looks here. Oh, that's always good. That's exciting. Look at that, folks. That's what happens when you run ethanol fuel. So we got a whole bunch of milk in there. So we're gonna have to go ahead and take a look at that. It didn't get an oil change until well, I guess I only got 1 oil change last year, so hopefully we didn't push a head gasket. That would be shitty. Real world, this is what you get. Not what we were expecting, but again, it could be the ethanol. When that stuff gets in the fuel, it does separate. So 100% could be that. I didn't see actual antifreeze, but we are running like an amber colored orange antifreeze too, so I guess we'll find out. We're gonna go ahead and let that finish running out, and then we're gonna pull the oil filter. Quick way of checking this too. We're gonna check our coolant level, stuff like that. But again, anytime you're running ethanol or alcohol, you gotta think about the moisture. So it does draw moisture, alcohol does. So it's not unheard of, especially guys running full-blown alcohol. They tend to have this quite a bit. They usually gotta change their oil every other race. Or every race. It's pretty ridiculous, but real world, folks, appreciate it. Let's let this run out. All right, one thing I want to talk to you guys about. So there is a couple different oil filter options. Now we just run the old Parts Master. It's our local parts stores, economy brand. But this number here, this is a standard GM. It's a 2011 oil pan, so anything Gen 4, standard length. So what we did do is we switched over to, we found a longer one through Wix. Kind of went to a premium brand at that point. So if you want some extra, volume, you got your Wix number here. Same deal, but I mean, hell, we're gaining, it's probably a good solid 6-inch difference. Yeah. So that's the number if you guys want to know. We're gonna go ahead and put the larger one on there, and like I said, we do run some extra oil anyways, just for sake of temperature, and when we're in the high RPMs and all that fancy stuff. And maybe we probably should put an oil cooler on it, but it's a junkyard motor. So let's get this back together and then get back to that crank sensor project. All right, so to get to our crank sensor, we have this crossover. Well, some asshole, me, had made this unit out of 2 3/4. The old header wrap. I don't like a power washer, by the way, so don't touch it with one. But if you look right here, it's kind of hard to see. The only way to get the starter down, to get to the crank sensor, is to pull the crossover. So we got 2 rusty V-bands. We don't have any header wrap tonight. We're trying to finish this project up tonight. We may just kind of leave it alone, take it off for the next event. We'll see. But yeah, we're gonna get to it and get this crossover off. Get back to you once we get to the crank sensor. All right, we are to our crank sensor. We got the crossovers out of the way. It's not terrible. It's just you're dealing with a couple V-bands that get covered in mud. That's just the nature of the beast, you know? So right there's our unit. 10 millimeter gets it out. It's an old, I mean, it's got 150,000 on it. So we're really hoping that's it. We do have a new one we're gonna toss in it. Hopefully that resolves our issue. But there's no crank end plate. We did measure that, you know, so I think this will take care of it. If not, it's going to be probably I've heard stories, the tone ring on the crankshaft can actually walk off and loosen up. They're just a pressed on deal. Hopefully that's not it. So start with the cheap stuff, the easy stuff, crank sensor, go from there. Plus it gave us an excuse to kind of, go through them bolts again and we like to clean them up, anti-seize them and stuff. And, even these units here, they get pretty nasty, so I like to spray them down. I thought about putting like silicone on the threads or something just to kind of prevent mud or something, but I have not done that yet. But it is what it is. So let's get this unit pulled off. The biggest trick is, folks, hopefully it comes out. It's an iron block. It's pretty rusty. Let's just hope we can get lucky. Oh, it's actually moving. No shit. Look at that, folks. She actually came out. So we're gonna go ahead and clean the hole up and everything and reassess. And you see more of that milkshake we got on there from our ethanol fuel. I know last batch we ran some E98, so it might as well be alcohol, but it's not. All right, so here's our new one. Looks very similar. So rumor has it, GM on the new version of these turned them black. So here's something to know about an LS crank sensor, a Gen 4, which is a gray sensor, and a Gen 3, which is a 99 to 06.5 or whatever. Those are a black sensor. I got an old 5.3 sitting here. It's kind of hard to tell, but that is a black unit. Essentially they're pinned the same, but for whatever reason they're different. I'm not sure why. With the Holley system, you can just flip back and forth between 24X and 58X. You just take a razor blade and you kind of trim off the little alignment tab in there and it'll work. But we are running a gray sensor. So let me find the part number here real quick for you. We got that unit over here. We're running a standard motor products. That's the unit we got. So we're gonna put that in there, hopefully it takes care of our issues. But I did read about that. ICT Billet, I think it was, had a post about the GM going to black on the Gen 4 stuff. So just watch out for that stuff, guys. It might cause you a snafu. Crossover is on. Got all that tucked back in. We did drain the rest of the residual oil out, so we're gonna go ahead and put engine oil in it, touch her off, and well, hopefully it starts, I guess. We got that new aftermarket crank sensor in there, so we'll see how that goes. But we got only the finest oil for this hot rod here. We got the old Parts Master full synthetic. But it is rumored to be, let me find her on here. the old Ashland Corporation. So it's like Valvoline's, you know, twin cousin or sister, neighbor. I don't know. But for this low budget gem, you know, it's gonna be all right. You know, there is one benefit other than you have to pull the doghouse off. It's pretty easy to fill the oil, you know, being it's right next to your foot. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the engine oil topped off and touch her off. Hopefully it starts up, takes up, you know, this is what it's supposed to do. So let's get that oil put in and get to the next step. Only the finest for old Delinquent here. You know, get this stuff poured right in there. All nice and deep black. You know what they say, there's always time for lube, folks. Especially in something like this. So guys, these are one of those things they don't tell you about, but it's out there in the aftermarket. They're pretty slick. Allows you to use the old stock valve covers. That's what we run. We got 2 stock ones, 2 oil fill sides actually. So it's a GM oil fill cap to -10. We got a couple -10 breathers here. So that keeps it simple and cheap. You know, these things are, I'm sure some Amazonian specials, but I think they're like 10 or 12 bucks. But yep, oil fill cap. Look at that. That's how you do it. Just run the old -10 and you're on your way. So let's see if this thing will start again. That's the next step. We do have that new sensor in. We're gonna go ahead and finish tightening this breather up here. We can get the start. Get the old aluminum crescent wrench. I'm just kidding. We don't care if you mar it. You ain't gonna see it anyways. So, from what we've all been waiting for here, let's see if the new crank sensor works. Where's our little display at here? So run with that unit. We also have our, here's kind of our little wiring layout. We got a little grid back here. Have the old Holly in the back. Whole bunch of fuses and relays. And, you know, we got those 5 fans and, you know, big ass fuel pump, whatnot. So, but back to what's important. Let's see what happens, guys. Always want to make sure it's in park, you know. Oop, let's see here. Let's try it again. Let's see. To show you something, guys. You see the red LED light. It's kind of hard to see with the old GoPro on number 6. So the old crank sensor did not fix it. So I don't know what we're gonna do yet. We're gonna have to figure that part out. So I'm gonna tinker around there for a few more minutes and hopefully we can get it to start up. Well, guys, I did get it to start up, but I put the old crank sensor back in. Brand new Chinesium. You know, Standard Motor Products usually treats me pretty good, but I don't know, maybe we got a bad sensor, bad batch, but it is going to be kind of low, but I want to just prove a point here because the crossover is a pain in the ass to pull down. I just left it off this time. I do have another premium OEM GM used one in another short block I have in the corner, but just for, you know, for theory's sake, I put the one I pulled out that, you know, drove the thing in. So let's see what it does. What the hell? No red light. Yeah, I think we had a faulty sensor, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and probably grab another new one at the parts store. I don't know, the old GM one I have in the corner, we might just try that out because, you know, it's free to save us 60 bucks. Get that money back anyways, and, you know, that'd be fuel or something. I don't know. But on that note, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. We're gonna screw around with this a little bit more. Hopefully next time you see this bad boy, we'll be at the event with it ripping. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Much appreciated. This one's been a rodeo. Thanks, guys.